Hey guys, it's Coach Brian with Cause Events, and today we want to discuss the way to begin open water swimming. Now, open water swimming is really important, and because I'm in the sport of triathlon, and a lot of my friends are, we find that this is really a key point. And one of the things that I do is I have clinics where I teach people how to get into open water swim, build their confidence. The hardest thing you can do is to get into a triathlon and never have been in open water and then discover you have to do open water. So it's rewarding whether you just want to enjoy a dip in the local pond or setting or your aim on an Ironman triathlon. I mean, you know, I don't know what your goals are. You have to tell me what your goals are, and that's what I do. Is I take people and the first thing I ask them, what are your goals? Um, because I'm always teaching triathlon swimming. I'm teaching triathlon. I'm coaching people in this sport. I'm always asking them, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you registered for a particular type of race? I want to find out so I can address their needs. Now, the same basic concepts are common to all types of water. The only thing is there are no walls, no lines on the bottom. The temperatures may vary throughout the body of water. There may be currents, and there are usually some kind of living creatures living in that open body of water. There's a few bodies of water scattered throughout the world that there are no critters in, but that's a rarity. Let's look what you need to know for the different kinds of open water there are and how to get started, okay? And getting started is the key here. First, choose your goals. What are you wanting to start? Why are you wanting to start open water swimming? Are you wanting to change from a pool and get the freedom of open water? Are you wanting to attempt a distance goal without turning around constantly as in a pool? Is there a competition you want to attempt? Whether it's swimming competition, a triathlon, or a aqua bike, or something that has to do with swimming and a combination of another sport. You want to be more into nature. There's nothing greater than going up in the mountains and swimming in a frigid water body that's at 5, 6, 7,000 feet. But you know it's pristine, it's clean, etc. I don't know. What are your goals? You have to determine those and let me know. Where do you want to swim? Okay, the ocean, a bay, a lake, a pond, a lagoon, a river. You choose it. There may be others I'm not mentioning, but with each type of water, there are differences, and you have to be cognizant of those differences. In the ocean, there are currents, there are tides, there are critters. Some may eat you. Ooh. But rarely do we. I've been in the ocean hundreds of times, and I've seen critters that can, but I've never gotten eaten. If I had, we wouldn't be doing this right now. There are things that can sting you and hurt you, and lots of little hazards out there. It's its own ecosystem. It's its own environment. I've seen all kinds of fish. I've seen sea lions. I've seen sharks. I've seen dolphins. I've seen whales. You name it, I've seen it. I've crossed the ocean, what was it, 6 times? A lake. Depending on the lake. Now, a lake can be a small lake, a little local lake in the middle of town, man-made lake. It may be a reservoir. It may be a natural lake. It may be one of the Great Lakes, okay? And you have to know what the hazards are and the particulars of that kind of lake are. Is it a pond? You have to know the hazards there. There may be underwater entanglements. It may not be well maintained around it or even in it. A bay is like the ocean. It's just an inset type. It's kind of like a lagoon, only usually bigger, and though it's susceptible to tides, not tidal bores generally. There are some throughout the world that open up into large bodies of water that have a narrow opening and massive tides comes in and out of there. But bays tend to be warmer than the ocean surrounding it because they're shallower, they're farther from the ocean, and they don't get the mixing of deeper water with shallower water, which tends to be warmer. Okay, we've got hazards galore, and I've got a video coming up on hazards. It's going to be right here. Okay. And those hazards are how do I mitigate? Swim in swim areas. Okay, if you're not overly confident about getting way out there and can swim out, a mile or so, or even a half mile, or even a quarter mile. If you don't have that level of confidence, swim in a swim area. One nice thing is I always have people swimming in swim areas because I can have them swim around the buoy line, and that is I can measure their swim. They can time themselves. They know what they're doing. Swim with a friend. I don't encourage anybody to swim alone. Swim with somebody. Let somebody know where you're going, which is the next point. Always tell somebody what you're going to do, where you're going, and when you plan to be back. So if you don't come back, they they can look for you, and they'll know where to look for you. Have appropriate gear, and this is the really big thing that I have to stress. And I'm going to show you some gear here. A wetsuit. Having your wetsuit appropriate for the water you're in. Now, I get swimmers all the time who are wearing surfing wetsuits to swim in, which you can do it. I've done it before, but it's not the ideal. You want a wetsuit that's designed to swim in because you have more flexibility in the shoulders. It's not going to be as fatiguing. It's going to be a little tighter to you. It's probably going to keep you warmer in the water because a surfing wetsuit, you get out of you're standing up on the surfboard or sitting on the board waiting for your wave, and the water drains out, and you're there, and it's going to keep you warm. But a swimming wetsuit is designed to be in the water. It's designed to be very tight on your body to hold a small amount of water close in. Okay, goggles. You really should have good goggles, and put some anti-fog in them because if the water's at all cold, they're going to fog up on the inside. I have a video on fogging right here. How to make anti-fog for your goggles. A swim buoy. A swim buoy is a really good thing to have with you because swim buoys tend to be very visible in the water, and they're an excellent way for a lifeguard or your friends to spot where you are. A lot of times I have loaners that I give to my new swimmers, and I'll say, here, wear this so I can keep track of you. I also put a bright colored swim cap on them. I carry pink and yellow. I carry 2 colors of swim caps, and with those I am able to put a bright colored swim cap, throw a swim buoy on them. Also, a swim buoy is great because you blow it up. It is a flotation device that just kind of like drags behind you. It barely sits in the water because it's like a big balloon. But it's enough where you can turn around, grab it, and kind of float there and rest. Okay? It creates a really good opportunity for you to get a little bit of rest. Also, know your abilities. Know what you can do in the water. If you can go out there in a pool that's 80 degrees and swim for 2,000 yards, know that you're going in water that's 70 degrees without a wetsuit, and that's going to cut down the amount of time. It's going to cut down your energy level for you to stay in the water for very long, especially if you're not used to being in colder water. And that's a really important thing to remember is the water temperature is critical. Okay, that's a big hazard. Okay, I'm not going to go over the hazards here. I'm going to go over them in another video that's following this one. Okay, for swimming, determine where you're going to swim. Determine your course, okay? And I would recommend, if you're new to open water, find a designated swimming area. You can swim around the buoy line, okay? And when you swim around the buoy line, it provides a couple of things. It provides buoys to side off of, and it helps you maintain a straight line. And sighting is really important here because there are no lines on the bottom. You have to remember that. You might not even be able to see the bottom. In some areas that have a little murkier water, you won't be able to see the bottom. So you have to be able to sight. And I've got a video on sighting that is in Coach Brian's Corner. And I'm not going to throw that one up here because it's a very popular video. It's a very good video. It's done in my pool, and you can get a lot of it. Just go look for it. Note landmarks to sight on. If you're not in a swim area with buoys, look for something off in the distance. Look for a building, a tree, a light post, something that you can kind of like set your bearings on. If you're on a flat coast, a straight coast, you're gonna have to set it on something down the coastline a little bit. And then when you come back, look for something coming back. And do that before you get in the water so you know what you're looking at. If you get tired, pause, float on your back, close your eyes. If you have some buoy, just put it under your chin, float along, and you'll be fine. Just rest for a few minutes. One thing I want to remind you that when you're swimming in open water, especially for you aspiring triathletes, pro tip, don't kick a lot. If you're wearing a wetsuit, your body's going to stay horizontal just by the fact that you're wearing a wetsuit. I tell people, if you're wearing a wetsuit, you're not going to drown. You can't sink with a wetsuit on. It's like having an extra flotation device. The wetsuit will keep you warm. And I've got a bunch of videos on wetsuits. It's the wonderful world of wetsuits. Okay, if you kick less, you'll tire. It'll take you longer to get tired, and you'll be able to go farther. You get about 25% of your propulsion with about 75% of your expenditure of energy by kicking. Okay, reach your turnaround point and swim back, doing the exact same thing I mentioned before. Wash, rinse, repeat. It's easy as that. Don't choose an area that's too long, that's too far. Learn how to do it in bits and pieces. Don't go rushing out there and trying to do a whole lot more. The more you do this, the better you're going to get at it, and the more fun you're going to have as you progress and you put challenges farther and farther out, a little more distance. You're going to get better at this, and you're going to be more enthusiastic about that. Okay, well, that's what I've got for you in this episode. The next one is going to be on the hazards of open water, and that's going to be a really good one for you to see. And I'm hoping that it's a much longer video, and there's going to be more visuals with it. But you're going to be able to get a lot out of that, and you're going to understand more of what you have to look out for. All right, with that, I'm going to say goodbye. You have a wonderful time, and I hope to see you out there swimming with me soon. Bye.
Hey guys, if this video is helpful, like and subscribe to it, and also share it. Drop a comment. I'd like to hear from you.